Hey, you are about to watch one of three portraits that we shared during the event The Last Gasp at the Prestige, our Applied Somatics Academy. The premise of each of these is not just that they were an incredible moment in history through three inspiring figures, but that each one of them represents a somatic orientation that is truly profound, one where somebody moved from dysregulation or incoherence into a state that we like to call one mind, which is a moment of integration where body and mind are aligned, and you could call it maybe a state of super coherence. In the event that we shared these, we primed members in one of two roles, and they would come in and participate behind the scenes. Between each one of these portraits, there would be breakout groups where they would meet. One of them would be elected as principal, the other few would be witnesses. So when I have those different acts in each one of these portraits, that's what they're referring to. The principal is the one experiencing the somatic reorientation from dysregulation into one mind. The witnesses are carrying the field. They're reciprocating that experience and participating vicariously in that moment. The feedback from this particular event was incredible, and several of the principals noted that while they were telling their own story in between each one of these, that as they would hear the portrait of Musashi or Brene Brown or Jesse Livermore, that the somatic shifts taking place in each one of these portraits was adopted by them subconsciously as they were listening, and then it carried through into their own storytelling in the moments that followed, which is pretty awesome. And I hand-selected these three stories because there are three of my favorite of antiquity, going back several hundred years, in the case of Musashi, all the way to the last decade for Brene Brown. So, exciting stuff. I hope you enjoy it, and I'm going to hand it off to Lindsay, my partner in crime here, to walk you through the steampunk corridor. It's a thing we do. And then enjoy the portrait. Reach out at the Prestige if you have any questions.
You have taken your positions. Some of you are here as principals, sensing what happens when a system is placed under real pressure. Others are here as witnesses, attuned to the moment when something shifts and the field follows. Hold those roles lightly, but keep them close. They're going to shape what you notice. The first door opens onto a moment of legend. A confrontation remembered not for its outcome, but for what it forced into being. A battle where training and tradition reached their limits, and necessity dictated what came next. From that moment, a way of moving emerged that would echo far beyond the fight itself. As you enter this portal, don't listen only with your ears. Let the moment register in your body. Pay attention to what tightens, what steadies, and what changes when the stakes become absolute. This is a glimpse into a defining instant, one that shaped history and everything that followed. And it's the first door we walk through tonight.
Part 1. The plot. Japan, early 1600s, late afternoon. A narrow valley outside a farming village, bordered by cedar-covered slopes and broken stone. Musashi arrives alone, earlier than agreed. The duel was supposed to be formal. One opponent, witnesses, a clean end to an old conflict. The teacher he killed months earlier had demanded satisfaction before his death. Before Musashi reaches the clearing, he slows. The ground tells a different story. Footprints layered over one another, grass crushed flat where no one should be standing. The slopes feel occupied even before he looks up. Men are already in place. Students of the dead teacher, dozens of them. Some hidden above the tree line, some forward in the rocks. others closing off the path behind him. They have height, numbers, and time. The valley narrows. Once he steps fully in, the terrain becomes a funnel. Musashi keeps walking. From the ridge, observers watch him enter the clearing, already certain the matter is settled. No one survives this kind of geometry. Part 2. The principle. The ambush comes all at once. Men rush downhill in coordinated waves. Arrows cut through air. Shouts overlap as they move to contain him. Musashi draws his katana and responds as he has always fought. Precise footwork, measured strikes, 2 hands locked on the blade. For a moment, it works. He cuts down the first men cleanly, steps through openings, turns aside attacks just in time. The skill is real. The training holds. Then, numbers close. Attacks arrive from multiple angles. Distance collapses faster than he can clear it. The valley compresses. Each cut creates space immediately, fills again. Musashi backs a step, then another. A spear grazes past his shoulder. A blade tears his sleeve. The rhythm he relies on fractures. His grip tightens. His eyes move constantly now, checking flanks, recalculating distance, searching for order that isn't forming fast enough. This is the edge of it. The moment where training runs out. Musashi stops retreating. Not because the pressure eases, it doesn't, but because something inside him settles. The noise of the valley no longer competes for space. The crowd, the shouting, the arrows collapse into a single fact. There is only forward. His left hand moves. The short sword clears its sheath. Every samurai knows what this costs. A katana is meant for 2 hands. Strength, control, leverage. All are compromised the moment the dominant grip is divided. Drawing a second blade is an admission that form no longer matters, that survival has replaced doctrine. Musashi accepts without pause. As the second sword comes up, his movement changes. He stops adjusting, stops searching. His pace steadies. His shoulders settle. His eyes move forward. Not on any one man, but on the space they must pass through to reach him. The effect is immediate. With 2 blades, he stops trading strikes and starts shaping the field. He advances into the slope, cutting corridors instead of opponents, forcing groups to compress where they shouldn't. Attacks interfere with one another. Momentum breaks. Men hesitate. Others rush too fast. Distance judgments fail. Strikes arrive out of sequence. Musashi keeps moving uphill. By the time the noise thins, he stands near the trees. Both blades are lowered, his breath steady. The valley below him is still. Part 3. The witnesses. The observers on the ridge had been counting bodies. At first, Musashi looked exactly like a man being erased. Skilled, composed, but already overwhelmed. They watched him give ground, watched the familiar pattern fail under pressure. They noticed his eyes first. They were everywhere, darting, measuring, searching for solutions that weren't there. It looked like effort. It looked like delay. Then, the second sword appeared. Almost casually, as if drawn by instinct rather than decision. At the same moment, his gaze changed. The scanning stopped. His eyes fixed forward, level, certain. Not narrowed, not distant, still, as though the entire valley had fallen into alignment inside that line of sight. From above, the effect was unmistakable. Men approaching him slowed without meaning to. Attacks overlapped. Distance judgments failed. It looked as though they were entering space that no longer belonged to them. The observers stopped counting. They watched the field reorganize around a single point. Wherever Musashi stood became the center everything moved through, or broke against. When it ended, no one spoke. They had come to witness a killing. Instead, they witnessed 88. They left having seen what happens when attention stops fragmenting and the world loses its advantage.